Hey Virgo, ever feel like you're always the one holding everything together, yet no one notices? Like your intuition whispers truths before anyone else sees them, but you second-guess yourself? This May, it's time to stop dimming your light. The universe is aligning in your favor, urging you to trust that inner voice and step into the abundance waiting for you. Let's explore how this month can be your turning point. Let's be honest for a second. If you're a Virgo, chances are you've spent most of your life trying to get things just right, double-checking everything, making sure others are okay, constantly holding it all together. But what if I told you that your perfectionism isn't just a personality trait? It's a shadow of something far deeper, far older. You were never just born to plan, manage, or stay organized. No, you were born to bring balance, to feel the pulse of a room before anyone speaks, to sense when things are off before chaos breaks. Nostradamus once predicted that if Virgo ever forgot who they really are, the world would slowly fall out of rhythm. And maybe that's what's been happening lately. Maybe the reason you feel off track, restless, or even invisible is because you've been trying to live like everyone else, ignoring what's ancient within you. But May is different. Something in the cosmos is shifting, and if you're honest, you can feel it, can't you? It's that quiet nudge in the back of your mind, the goosebumps when you're doing something seemingly ordinary, the dreams that won't leave you alone. Pluto is digging up the roots, Jupiter is expanding the truth, and the supermoon is shining directly on everything you've been avoiding. This isn't about trying harder, it's about remembering deeper. This is your invitation to stop doubting your sensitivity and start trusting your power. Back in the ancient days, before we had calendars and clocks, there were people who didn't need a schedule to know what time it was. They just felt it. And among them was someone like you. Virgo wasn't born to crunch numbers or color code planners. You were born to sense disruption before it turned into chaos. You were the one who held things together in ways people didn't even notice. Back then, Virgo was not behind the scenes. You were the sacred advisor, the one standing just behind the throne, whispering the truth others couldn't handle. You were calm during the storm, the one person turned to when things fell apart. And that legacy didn't vanish. It just got buried under tasks, to-do lists, and a world that taught you to stay small. But deep down, you've always known you were meant for more. This isn't some fairy tale. It's your soul history. Your perfectionism isn't about neatness. It's about remembering how much power your presence carries. The reason you feel overwhelmed in chaos isn't because you're sensitive. It's because you're wired to recalibrate it. You balance more than energy. You restore order to lives. But the world today has forgotten how to honor that kind of power. You've probably been told you're too intense, too analytical, too much. That narrative ends now, because if you keep suppressing your gift, you'll keep feeling out of alignment. But when you let that gift breathe, when you stop apologizing for how deeply you feel things, everything shifts. You stop chasing and start attracting. That's what happened to Elena. She wasn't flashy or famous, just a woman who always showed up for everyone else. Until one night she sat at her kitchen table, her hands shaking, tears dropping onto her journal, and wrote something she hadn't dared to say out loud. I miss who I used to be. That one sentence broke open a dam. She wasn't weak, she was awakening. She began remembering the things she knew as a child, how she could feel when someone was lying, or how nature always seemed to speak to her in symbols and signs. But she'd brushed it off for decades, thinking it was just her imagination. It wasn't. It was intuition. As she gave herself permission to reconnect, to stop living on autopilot, she found herself again. She didn't quit her job overnight or move to a mountaintop. She started small, waking up a bit earlier to sit in silence, lighting a candle before bed, writing 3 sentences a day from her soul. And from those tiny actions, her clarity grew. She realized she didn't have to be perfect to be powerful. She just had to be present. That's when everything changed. People started treating her differently. Opportunities she thought were long gone came back in new forms. But the biggest shift wasn't what happened outside. It was what shifted inside. She no longer doubted her knowing. She no longer held back when she sensed something others missed. Her voice, once silent, began to shape her world. And this is what you're being called to remember this May. Not to abandon who you've been, but to return to who you truly are. You don't have to carry the whole world, Virgo. You just have to stop hiding the part of you that knows how to heal it. The world is finally ready for what you've been holding back. The question is, are you? Elena's story isn't unique because it's extraordinary. It's powerful because it's familiar. So many Virgos walk through life carrying the emotional weight of everyone around them without anyone ever noticing. You anticipate needs before they're spoken. You hold space for people who don't know how to hold it for themselves. But that comes at a cost. Sometimes you forget that you too deserve to be held, seen, understood. That same gift of intuition you use for others. Have you ever fully turned it inward? Have you ever asked yourself what your energy needs? What your heart is whispering when the noise dies down? This month, you're not being asked to fix anyone else. You're being asked to listen inward, to realize that your healing begins when you stop making your life a constant response to the chaos around you, because you were never meant to be a firefighter of emotional emergencies. You were meant to be a guide, a grounded, intuitive leader who walks with grace, even when the world is loud. And when you reclaim that role, when you remember that being calm is your superpower, something remarkable happens. People begin to follow your frequency, not because you demand it, but because your alignment becomes magnetic. This is the invitation of May, not just to remember who you were, but to lead from that space again. Not louder, not bolder, just truer. That's enough. That's everything. When you finally remember who you are at the soul level, something begins to shift, and that shift is exactly what May is offering you, Virgo. This isn't about being motivated for a week and falling back into old patterns. This is deeper. This is cosmic timing meeting your personal truth. The reason you felt stuck isn't because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you've been trying from the wrong state of being, forcing, over-planning, over-analyzing, when what your energy actually needs is alignment. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, isn't trying to throw random blessings your way. It's responding to the signals you're giving out. So ask yourself honestly, are you living from fear or from flow? Because when you shift into trust, into openness, into believing you're already supported, that's when Jupiter amplifies your life. And here's the key. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to shift your inner frequency, even slightly. That shift could look like choosing rest over productivity for one day. It could be saying yes to an opportunity that feels aligned, even if it scares you, or simply believing that you're worthy of ease. Now, let's talk about the codes the universe is sending you this May through numbers. These aren't just cute repeating digits. These are energetic blueprints, and if you learn to listen to them, they'll guide your next move. Let's start with the number 5. This is the number of freedom. And if there's one thing you've been craving lately, it's the freedom to finally stop carrying everyone else's expectations. You've played the reliable one for so long, but May is asking you to let that go. Choose yourself for once. Walk away from roles you've outgrown. Then comes 8. This number is the infinity loop, the eternal flow of energy and wealth. But that flow doesn't activate through stress. It activates through surrender. Let money come to you by creating space for it, mentally, emotionally, even physically. Declutter, rest, say no, say thank you. That's the frequency of 8. Now 11. It's not just spiritual, it's magnetic. It's the number of divine insight. When you see it, pause. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Because chances are, that moment is significant. A message is coming through your intuition. Don't brush it off. Write it down. Follow it. Next up, 22. This number is the master builder. It's telling you that everything you've lived through has prepared you for this next chapter. You're not starting over. You're finally starting aligned. Build with intention. Every small decision you make now lays the foundation for the life you've been dreaming of. And then we have 33. This is the teacher, the healer, the one who creates not just for themselves, but for others. If you've ever wondered whether your voice matters, this is your confirmation. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to transform and lead others through their own healing. And finally, there's the number only you know. The number that keeps showing up on receipts, on clocks, on license plates. That number is your personal activation code. It's the universe nudging you to pay attention, to remember that you're not imagining things. You're in alignment with something greater. So write that number down. Carry it with you. Let it remind you of who you are and what you're here to do. Because this isn't just a month of magic, Virgo. It's a month of remembering, realigning, and receiving. You're not here to chase money. You're here to let abundance catch up to you when you finally become available to receive it. Your timing isn't late. It's perfect. The energy is ready. The question is, are you? Think about how often you've second-guessed yourself even when your gut was screaming the truth. That moment you said yes when everything in you said no. That time you held back your opinion to keep the peace, even though your insight could have changed the outcome. Those weren't just missed chances. They were tiny soul betrayals. But here's the beauty. The universe doesn't hold it against you. It just keeps circling back, giving you more chances to trust yourself. And May is full of those chances. It's a portal, not a deadline. A chance to rewrite the pattern, not repeat the cycle. You don't have to move fast. You just have to move differently. Start with intention, not impulse. Start by honoring what you feel, not just what looks smart on paper. And when those 6 numbers show up, don't scroll past, don't dismiss them. Pause, breathe. Ask yourself what they're reminding you of. Every single one of them is a message, a mirror, a map, a way for you to stop surviving and start leading. Because Virgo, you're not here to just hold space for others. You're here to expand into everything you've quietly dreamed of. And the time is now. So let's talk about rituals, not routines, not habits, but real energetic anchors that bring you back to your power. Virgo, you're an earth sign. You ground others effortlessly. But how often do you ground yourself? In May, the universe is asking you to reconnect. Not to be productive, not to check something off a list, but to get still, to tune in, to reset. Start with a green candle. Light it every morning, even if it's just for 5 minutes. As it burns, speak to yourself, not from pressure, not from perfection, but from honesty. Say what you need to hear. I am here. I am listening. I am willing to receive. This tiny act sends a massive signal. It tells the universe, I'm ready. Then, grab a notebook, and before bed, write down 3 things you felt that day. Not what happened, what you felt, what triggered you, what surprised you, what made you feel alive or drained. Over time, you'll notice patterns, clues, messages you've been too busy to hear. Writing brings your inner world into form. It slows the noise and makes your intuition visible. Now let's take it outside. Put your feet on the earth. 10 minutes a day. No headphones, no scrolling. Just you, your breath, and the ground beneath you. This isn't about looking spiritual. It's about reconnecting with what you've always known. Nature heals. It speaks. It steadies you. Every single day, the planet teaches you how to recalibrate. Listen. And when you do, your nervous system responds. Your mind clears. Your energy aligns. This is where wealth begins. Not in hustle, but in harmony. Another piece? Creative expression. You don't need to be an artist to create. Make something without judging it. Cook something new. Paint with your fingers. Write a short story. Play with sound. Creativity moves blocked energy. It clears the static and makes space for clarity. When you create, you remember you're not just a machine. You're a vessel. And when you begin treating yourself like one, with reverence instead of demand, everything around you begins to shift. That's the core of these rituals. They aren't spells, they're invitations. And when you show up for them, they show up for you. Now let's talk about choice. You've done the work. You've stayed quiet. You've shown up. But now comes the moment where the universe steps back and says, "So what are you going to do with all of this?" This isn't about what you want anymore. It's about what you're willing to allow. Are you going to keep pretending everything's fine, or are you going to finally admit what you need has changed? This month isn't about dramatic change. It's about honest alignment. Where in your life are you shrinking? Where are you saying yes out of obligation instead of joy? Where are you hiding your truth because it feels too big, too loud, too different? This isn't a call out, it's a call back to yourself. Because when you stop negotiating your needs, you begin to align with what was always meant for you. People start to treat you the way you've been craving, not because they've changed, but because your energy has. You've taught them what's acceptable. Now teach them what's sacred. You don't need permission to shift. You don't need proof to trust your knowing. You just need to decide. And here's the hard part. Only you can make that choice. No video, no book, no teacher can walk it for you. We can open the door, but only you can walk through. That's the test and the gift of this season. It's no longer about whether you're worthy. You are. It's no longer about whether you're ready. You are. The only thing left is to choose, and choice looks different for everyone. Maybe it's making a phone call you've avoided for years. Maybe it's applying for something that terrifies you. Maybe it's resting. Maybe it's saying no for the first time in your life without explaining. Whatever it is, feel into it. Let it find you. Let it rise from your center. And when it does, say yes. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. Because the version of you that's waiting on the other side of this decision, they already know who you are. They're just waiting for you to catch up. You see, Virgo, alignment isn't a one-time thing. It's a practice, a way of moving through the world where you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself. It's the way you speak to yourself when no one's around, the way you honor your needs even when no one else understands them. This isn't about rebellion, it's about returning to the you who existed before the world told you how to behave, what to fear, and who to be. That version of you, the one who knew what felt right without needing a spreadsheet, they're still in there. May is your chance to reconnect, to slow down long enough to actually hear that voice again. And when you do, don't rush to silence it. Don't rationalize it away. Don't package it to make it palatable for others. Just listen and trust, because clarity doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. But when you start to follow those whispers, the noise starts to fade. The path begins to light up. And before you know it, you're no longer wondering where to go. You're already walking it. So light the candle, write the words, step outside barefoot, say the thing, and trust that you are not late. You are right on time. Everything you need is already inside you. This season is simply here to remind you of that truth. Now, what are you going to do with it? Let's get something clear, Virgo. Transformation does not require perfection. It asks for presence. So many of you have spent years waiting until everything feels just right. Until the timing, the budget, the mood, and even the stars all align. Before you give yourself permission to move forward. But here's the truth you need to hear. Waiting for perfection is how your dreams quietly die. May is not asking you to have it all figured out. It's asking you to start, to take one small, brave, honest step. Because each time you move from truth instead of fear, you shift the timeline. And timelines are everything right now. You're not behind, you're being calibrated. And calibration means rebalancing your energy, your expectations, and your expression. Maybe you've held your truth in for years. Maybe you've whispered it only to the walls. But it's time to bring it out into the light. Say the thing. Own the desire. Make the change. And no, it doesn't have to be a dramatic leap. It can be quiet and steady and sacred, because that's where your power lives. In steadiness, in sovereignty, in staying true to yourself even when no one else understands. Especially then. And this shift you're being asked to make, it's not just personal, it's collective. Your transformation gives others permission to seek their own. When you honor your energy, you teach others to do the same. When you say no to misalignment, you model what integrity looks like. That's why your clarity matters, not just for you, but for your ripple. So stop waiting for someone to approve of your journey. This is your path. Walk it like it's sacred, because it is. Now let's talk about what happens next. You've watched this far for a reason. Something in your soul has been nudging you to pay attention. And here's the promise I'll make you. If you follow through, if you take even one aligned action this month, everything will begin to shift. The money you've been calling in, it will begin to show up through people, through ideas, through timing that seems too perfect to be coincidence. The clarity you've been asking for, it will find you in the quiet moments, in the journal, in the wind, in the words of a stranger. But only if you stay open. Only if you stop trying to control the how and start trusting the flow. The universe is already responding to your vibration. Your only job now is to stay in that vibration long enough to receive what's coming. So here's your invitation. Comment the words I remember below. Let this be your declaration that you're ready, that you're listening, that you're not playing small anymore. Because the truth is, Virgo, you were never small. You just got really good at making yourself smaller to fit the spaces you were given. But May is the time to expand, to take up more room, not with noise, but with presence, with calm power, with energy that doesn't beg. It simply radiates. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You just have to remember it. So here's your next step. Whatever resonated most in this video, take action on it. Whether it's lighting the candle, writing the number, walking barefoot in the grass, or finally having that conversation you've been putting off, just start. You don't have to do everything, but you have to do something, because momentum is what creates miracles. And the more you move in alignment, the more the universe moves with you. This is how change begins. Not with a bang, but with a choice. A quiet, courageous choice to stop waiting and start living. Virgo, the path is already laid out in front of you. The signs are everywhere. The energy is ready. The only thing left is for you to step forward. So take a breath, put your hand on your heart, and say it with me. I remember who I am. I reclaim what is mine. I am ready to receive. Now go, and don't just hope for transformation. Live it. Let this be the month you stop negotiating with your doubt. Let it be the moment where you no longer delay your joy, your growth, your calling, because you think you need more proof. The only proof you ever needed was the pull inside your chest that whispered, there's something more meant for you. That whisper wasn't fantasy, it was guidance, and guidance ignored becomes stagnation. But guidance followed. That becomes evolution. So evolve. Start small, but start strong. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier to be with your breath. Maybe it's deleting the phone number that drains your spirit. Maybe it's making a decision you've postponed for years. This isn't about speed, it's about integrity. The tiniest act made in alignment will always outpower the biggest move made from fear. So let fear sit in the passenger seat if it must, but don't give it the wheel. Your higher self is driving now, and she knows the way. And when the road feels unclear, that's okay. Keep moving, keep choosing, keep showing up. Because consistency is what deepens connection, especially your connection to self. And in that connection, that's where your future lives. And if no one told you this yet, there is nothing wrong with the pace you're moving. You're not too late. You're not behind. You are syncing up with your own rhythm. And once you embrace that, you begin to see everything unfold more naturally. Stop chasing timelines that were never yours to begin with. Let yourself arrive slowly, intentionally, with grace, because sometimes the biggest breakthrough happens in the smallest shift, in how you speak to yourself, how you breathe, how you begin. So let May be the month you stop starting over and start starting from power. Trust that even one day of aligned energy can do what years of struggle never could, because alignment is acceleration, and you, Virgo, are finally in position to accelerate. Welcome home to your own timing. So, Virgo, here we are. After all the insights, activations, and awakenings, what really matters is what you choose to do next. Not tomorrow, not next month, but now. This very moment is your invitation to stop waiting and start embodying. You've remembered your power, your intuition, your rhythm, and now it's time to walk in it. You don't need to be louder or flashier, you just need to be real. Authenticity is magnetic, calm energy is transformative, presence is your greatest flex. So take up space in your own quiet, grounded way. Let your life be proof of your alignment. Let your choices speak the truth your soul has always known. And if at any point you forget, come back to this moment, because everything you need is already within you, waiting to be chosen. This world doesn't need a more perfect version of you. It needs the present, powerful, awakened version. And that version is ready. Let May be your beginning.